What's going on YouTube? My name is James Wirtz. I'm a 22-year-old carpenter here in Denver, Colorado. I run JTH Carpentry. In today's video, I'm going to be walking through how I got to where I'm at, a little bit of my background, and what got me to this point. So I grew up in a family with a long history of craftsmen and very creative people. My great grandpa was an artist. He was a wood carver, a mechanic. He did it all. And then that got passed down to my grandpa. Now I grew up going to a cabin in Canada that my grandparents owned. It was a lake house property. So I learned from my grandpa and my dad how to build cabins and docks and do trim and all sorts of things like that. So I've grown up learning how to do all that kind of stuff and just learning how to build things and be very creative. When I was a young kid, I was always out in my dad's garage with his tools, just making random stuff, just carving wood and nailing it together, making random things. I always had a hammer in my hand or a saw in my hand or something like that. But I loved fixing things, and if I was given a task, I would do it and do it to the best that I could. So that's how I grew up. I would say in middle school is when I built a lot of little gadgets and toys and stuff, little knives, and I built a useless box where you flip the switch and it comes out and turns itself off. I built a lot of things like that, a little USB drive that I carved out a piece of wood and put in there with some epoxy. So I was always building little things and I loved it. I was always drawing too. I was doing a lot of sketches, and I kind of had a fascination with houses and how they're built. So when high school came around, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to be creative and work with my hands. I wasn't sure what that was, but I did not want to sit at a desk and with a computer in front of me. So I was doing a lot more sketching in high school and took a drawing class, a ceramics class. I loved both of those things. Still continuing some woodworking projects in my dad's garage. So in high school, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. At this point, I was leaning towards architecture so that I could be creative and learn how to build things. So I'd take on these small projects for my dad, like building an arbor in our backyard or a gate. And it was good experience for me to learn and research how to build these things. I was watching YouTube videos, reading articles online, finding out what the best materials or methods for building it was. And I really loved that. I really did. While building these projects for my dad, I was doing sketches of them and planning that out, and I really liked that part of it. So I decided to go to architecture school right after graduating in high school. So I went to Community College of Denver and got my associates. I really loved going to architecture school. I had a lot of fun classes. I had an architectural sketching class that was awesome. I learned how to freehand sketch in scale with no straight edge or anything like that. So we were drawing cathedrals and we were learning architectural history, studying the past and how things were made, going back thousands of years. And that was really cool to me to see all the different house styles and how things are made. As I was going through my final semester at CCD, it's a 2 year long course. I decided I didn't want to continue with the program and go for my bachelor's. I've been working a little bit with my dad. He runs a handyman business on the side, and I was learning house renovations, drywall, trim, all that kind of stuff. So at that time, I realized I'm not going to continue with the program. I'd rather just start my own thing. So in my final semester, I decided to start my own business, which at the time I called it James the Handyman. So when I first started my business, I put a small website together. I bought some tools, some very basic tools. I bought just a kit from Milwaukee. It was maybe 6 or 7 tools with a couple batteries. And that got me through for a couple months doing small jobs, little repairs. I bought a tote with some screwdrivers and stuff like that. What I found is that if I would come across a job where I didn't have the tool, I'd buy it as the job came, and then I'd have that tool for future jobs. So I started growing my tool collection, which then allowed me to take on bigger jobs. So I was doing larger type of renovations, building closets, doing a lot more drywall stuff, trimming baseboard and stuff like that. And I really did love that, and I learned it so much. So in fall of my first year of business, I met probably my best client I've ever had, and he had just recently purchased a 1890s Victorian house in downtown Denver. And he had a long list of things that he wanted to do to restore this house and a lot of visions that he wanted for the house. I mean, he took a chance on me, just a young kid, to knock these things out for him, which was awesome. It was tons of work. I mean, I was there day in and day out for months. At first, it was very overwhelming for me to take on a job of this size, but I knew I could do it, and I'm glad I did because it was the best experience I've ever had. This was an amazing job because I got to learn so much about different types of wood and wood species and expansion and contraction of wood. I mean, it was a huge learning experience for me and very fun. So I was building all custom baseboard for this house. It was quarter sawn white oak with aluminum inlay, and every single chunk of baseboard was a glue up because it was a tall base. And that was super fun for me. I loved doing that and learned a ton about it. And then I was doing built-ins for this guy and tons of other stuff. And that really pushed me along in my business. So in that process, I learned that I don't really want to do more handyman stuff. I really love doing the carpentry aspect of things, running trim, building built-ins, all stuff like that. I built some custom furniture for him as well. That was really fun. And I also learned that I need better tools. So as those jobs went along, I was getting better tools, higher end tools, tools that suit the job better. So after that job, I was taking a lot more custom built-ins, custom trim, shelving jobs, stuff like that, which I absolutely love, and I'm still learning so much about. But I was taking those on for over the last couple of years, and just learning tons about it and getting better tools. At some point in 2023, I bought a 5x8 trailer, which has been amazing. Before that, I was just loading bags of tools into my little Jeep and going to do jobs that way. But when I got the trailer, I could build it out. I got a couple pack out stacks in there and better saws and stuff like that, which has been great. So I've been towing that around for the past couple of years now, and it's allowed me to be way more efficient than I was and take on better and bigger jobs. I will be doing a trailer tour as well in the next couple weeks, so stay tuned for that. With the trailer, I was doing a lot of on-site work. It was great, but I didn't have a shop space, so it really limited my abilities to take on bigger built-ins and stuff like that. Almost everything I built had to be able to be broken down and transported, built back on site. So in March, I landed this spot, which is a two-car garage little shop that I've made, and I will be doing a shop tour on this place as well. So stay tuned for that as well. But this has been amazing. I at first was just pulling out my on-site job site tools into this space and building things with those. Quickly realized it'd be way more efficient to have doubles of everything. So I got a bigger table saw, miter saw, stuff like that. This spot has been great. I've been able to build bigger built-ins, lay them out in here, and that's been phenomenal. In June of 2024, I did quite a bit of rebranding, changed my name from James the Handyman to JTH Carpentry, and did some website changes and stuff like that. And I've been taking on a lot of bigger jobs, a lot of built-ins and stuff like that, which has been great. And I'm just still learning new stuff every day. I will say running a business at 22 years old and starting it at 19 years old, there's a lot of challenges with that. It's very uncommon for someone so young to show up at your door and give you an estimate on a job. So there's lots of doubts with that. That's been tricky, but you have to be confident in the work that you do and the job that you do, and you have to do a good job. You have to show up on time, do a good job. Those clients will be impressed and refer you along. So that has been a challenge that has been tricky to overcome, but it's very doable. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I started my own thing. I honestly can't imagine sitting behind a desk. Just not for me. So I'm very pleased I started my own business, and I'm so excited to see what the future holds for me and JTH Carpentry. Right now, it's just me. I'm the only employee, but someday I might hire and have a crew or two. But yeah, I'm excited to take on larger jobs, and I'll be sharing the content with you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and stay tuned for more content.